Yo, you filthy exiles, welcome back to another Path of Exile 2 video, and today I want to give you guys an update on my Tactician GALV Shards build. The last time I talked about this build, I was hard capped at T3 Zest. My damage was just not there, bro. I couldn't dish out as much damage as I wanted to against T3 Zest. Like, the damage was good, but it just took way too long. By the time I reached the end, I was out of mana. I was doing 100 boss mechanics and it did not feel good. Okay, so that's now out of the window. I have officially defeated T4 Zest and my damage is all my days. My damage is really good. So I want to talk about some of the biggest changes I've made to this build and how I've elevated the whole issue of not having that much damage. So the biggest change was with the deepest tower helmet. Yes, I am now using this helmet as well. I mean, guys, this helmet is busted. It's okay, not busted, but it's super strong. It's mad strong for the cost, for how much it costs. I bought it for about 3 chaos orbs, and this helmet is damn right amazing. Now, I was using the Stakonja's head before. The Stakonja's head makes it so that 15% of damage taken is taken to your companion before you. This is an amazing helmet in terms of defensive utility, and in my last video on the build, I spoke about how I'm more so focusing on offense rather than defense for this build, and this is what I did. So Stakonja's head was switched out for the deepest tower helmet. So this helmet makes it so that enemies in your presence are considered to be on low life. It also has a downside of reducing your presence by 50%, which is huge if you are a ranged build. Of course, we're playing mercenary, we're a crossbow, so we are ranged, so this is not that good for us, but there's ways to mitigate this. So this helmet makes it so that every enemy is on low life, and what makes it OP is the nodes that you can get from the tree, and luckily for us, these nodes are just by the mercenary side on the tree. So like, these nodes right here are so freaking busted. Like, dude, they're so strong. Like, you can get over 200% damage just from these nodes alone combined with the helmet. Like, finishing blows, for example, this node on its own gives you 60% increased damage, right? Just from a node. So 60% increased damage against enemies that are on low life, which the helmet gives us. There's 30%, a bunch of 30% nodes as well. There's also this stars aligned node, which makes our damage lucky. Now, I already have this node. I don't know if it stacks with each other. Like, that needs testing. But like, this lucky node is also super strong. So like, these nodes alone with the helmet has just elevated my damage. I'm not struggling anymore against bosses, more so pinnacle bosses. And this also works with execute. So execute is a support gem that deals 50% increased damage against enemies on low life. So slot that in your shock burst rounds and you are cooking. So like, this is the biggest change to the build, and this is what has made me clear T4 Zest. Of course, some other changes come on the tree. First things first, I have completely spec'd out of the companion nodes. Remember, guys, I had the idea of building a duo companion build, running 2 different companions. I wanted my companions to hit as hard as possible, do as much damage as possible, but I've come to the conclusion that it's just not worth it. I still do way more damage than my companions ever can. I kill everything on the fucking map before my companions can even throw out a single melee attack. So it's just not worth it. So I've spec'd out of everything, all the resistances, all the life stuff. The only nodes I have are the ones that reduce the spirit cost reservation. These are good nodes because companions are expensive, and this allows us to run a lot more spirit buffs. Of course, being Tactician, our spirit gems are cheaper, so this is a very important node. And if I can find my way through all these cracked spirit buffs, I might spec out of these nodes as well. So Respecking out of all the companion nodes, at least most of the companion nodes, allows me to pick up nodes that deal more damage. So I've gone for a bunch of attack damage nodes. These nodes right here that just give me a bunch of attack for 200 weapons, so that's very, very strong as well. The nodes that let me do 25% increased damage against rare and unique enemies. Of course, bosses count as unique enemies, so that has increased my damage as well. I got 2 unique jewels. I think these 2 jewels are a must run for every build. So the first one is the Megalomaniac jewel. So this one lets you allocate 2 passive nodes on the tree. I think 2 to 3. I think the 3 are super expensive if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's just 2. Don't want to spread misinformation. I'm not sure about this, but anyway, the jewel I have has given me 2 different passive nodes on the tree. You can get some really strong passive nodes. So the first one I have is wasting, so I deal 35% increased damage against enemies affected by ailments. Of course, we have to apply shock to the enemy first before we apply shock burst round. So this applies for shock, as though shock is an ailment. It doesn't really apply on our galvanic shards because we use GALV shards for clear. We don't need any more damage on GALV shards. It was good even before I switched out this helmet, so mostly just for single damage. Very, very strong node. And the other one has to do with the Valor. So this one was the best jewel I could get, at least for the amount of money I had. I only had like 1 divine. This was, I think, 10 chaos orbs if I'm not mistaken, so half a divine. So that's what I could afford, and this is what I got. So the Valor node is decent. I do use War Banner. I have a bunch of Valor on my jewels as well, increased Valor gain. So I just thought to myself, okay, if I can get these, then I might as well just invest in the War Banner. So I use the War Banner for bosses as well, which is very, very underrated still in my opinion. So then the other jewel, of course, is the From Nothing jewel. This lets you allocate nodes on the passive skill tree without actually being connected to that part of the tree. So as you can see here, I'm getting nodes from this particular keystone. You get nodes surrounding a particular keystone. So whenever you search for a jewel, for this unique jewel, it will have the name of a keystone, and you can only pick up passives around that keystone. The keystone I got here, not really ideal, but this allows me to get the quick reload node, 40% reduced reload, as well as the projectile damage as well. Not really optimal, but again, it's what I could afford. So this is what I got. I think this was about 15 chaos orbs if I'm not mistaken. So these 2 jewels can really juice up your damage. If you're not using these particular jewels, I highly advise you invest in these jewels. So that's basically it, guys. Those are the changes I made to the build. Everything else has stayed the same. So the only thing I changed was the helmet, went for deepest tower, as well as switching around some nodes on the tree, specking out of companion nodes and going for damage nodes, as well as getting 2 jewels that have elevated my damage significantly. All these 3 things are very easy to farm at early end game grind. So the helmet is about 5 chaos orbs. Then both these jewels, at least one, maybe can be 1 divine as of right now, and the other one is like 15 to 10 chaos orbs, depending on the keystone that the particular jewel has, right? Because some keystones have access to very strong nodes, high damage nodes, and those are super expensive. We're talking like 50 divines, right? So you have to be very, very careful on which jewel you want to invest in. And farming chaos orbs really it's not difficult. I highly advise you invest in strong boxes, and whenever you find a researcher strong box, this one always drops currency. I've got a ton of chaos orbs from this particular strong box, so I highly advise investing into strong boxes if you're having difficulties farming, not having any divines, because as of right now 20 chaos orbs is equal to 1 divine, so it's worth the farming. That's basically it, boys. Those are the changes I've made to the build, and this has me clearing T4 Zest now. And for me, this is like a huge DPS check, because T4 Zest he's a very difficult boss fight. There's so many, like, this man's never stops attacking. The goddamn arms are super annoying. only broken builds are deleting this boss in like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Like good builds actually have to experience some kind of mechanics against these bosses, and Tactician for me happens to be one of them. So you won't see 1 billion damage on the build. You actually have to experience the boss mechanics. So if you're able to beat T4 Gest, you're able to beat every other boss in the game. Arbiter of Ash is just a matter of surviving mechanics. You have to take part in those mechanics because the boss has a shitload of health, like so much fucking health. So either way, as long as your damage is good against T4 Gest, you can clear everything in the game. Of course, I will try to beat everything. I'll try to clear the King of the Mist and Oroth. We have an update in August, guys. The game is still around, the league is still around, so I'm in no hurry. I'll take my sweet time and try to perfect this build. So the only thing left for me on this build is now defense. I'm still using pure armor build. There is some evasion rating, maybe around 40%, but this is mostly an armor build. And armor is not good, like it's not great, but the Starlight use cover on the Tactician is really strong. Like it's really strong. So this doubles your overall armor but makes it so that your maximum physical damage reduction is capped at 50%. But the way armor works in this game, it's very weak against huge hits, and either way, the bigger the hit, the less damage you mitigate, and you rarely, if ever, hit that 50% damage reduction mark. So just to give you guys an example, I'm able to tank those fucking Gest arms from the ground. I can tank those, right? Those are usually one-shot mechanics if you don't have very strong defense, but for me, I'm able to tank that stuff even though I don't have enough health. Of course, as an armor build, you must have armor and health. It's advised to have at least 3k health and above, and I only have like 1.5k health, so that's what I'm focusing on going forward. Buy new gear that has a ton of health so I can have a health stroke armor build, and I won't have that much evasion either way. So the survivability is good. The only thing that sucks with armor, of course, is high elemental damage. So if you get a row on a map, for example, that says monsters deal 40% as extra cold, fire, or lightning damage, bro, you are getting one shot on an armor build. Like that row is so bad for armor builds. Even elemental weakness and monsters get elemental damage as extra damage. Yeah, those rows suck. So that's why I want to invest as much health as possible to try and mitigate that huge elemental damage as well. There's also a special unique that lets armor apply to elemental damage. So I don't know, I might try and mess around with this. But overall, I wanted to mainly fix my damage issue. Like overall, everyone loves hitting hard. That's what I wanted to fix. And now that I know that my build is at that point that I can really kill T4 Gest, now is the time to focus on defense. So that's basically it. When that is done, guys, I will upload the guide, proper video, proper guide, proper mobalytics, all that jazz will be up at least before the end of this month. I guarantee you this. That's basically it, boys. I'm also playing my Chayula Monk. I took a break from my Merc and I'm actually grinding my Chayula Monk. He's now level 80, 81, 82, I think, as of right now. And the build is super strong. Like the clear is insane for this build. Gas Arrow build combined with Plague Bearer for clear, and dude, like the poison just spreading. The poison builds have to be one of the most satisfying builds in this game. Like just seeing every enemy's health just stick away, it feels so good. Now I'll make a separate video for this, but just wanted to let you guys what I've been up to outside of my Merc, so just look forward to that. But overall, this is what I wanted to talk about. So any questions, my boys, please let me know in the comment section below. Any fellow tacticians, let me know what you're playing and how is your build holding up against the end game. I would love to hear your thoughts. So anyway, boys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. If you've made this far, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I'm covering some PoE2 content, although my channel is variety. I cover Tekken as well, but I also love PoE2, so I'll always keep covering this game. And yeah, drop that like button as usual, boys, and GG. Take care, you filthy exiles.